In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe. Joe's back, yay!
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Are you well?
Good. Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, this is take 2 because I just breathed and had a coughing fit. This week's podcast, I'm back from Lanzarote, I'm back from Ireland, and I am back home.
This feels like the first time we've sat down and done a podcast
In weeks.
in somewhere, at this desk.
In weeks.
For weeks.
Yes, I think it is.
I think the last one we recorded
Was in California.
Blimey.
Yeah, we did 2 in California. Well, I did 1 and then you and I did 1.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, so this week's podcast is brought to you by gin. The gin is back.
Yay.
And it's a gin that we haven't tried before. My mum and dad came round earlier for reasons that we'll explain in a moment. But they brought us a bottle of gin, and it's Johnson with an E, Johnson London Dry Gin. And I don't know what it's like. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's what do you think, Joe?
Well, it's kind of a return to the
Classic.
classic, kind of clean, unfussy gins. Because we've had, don't get me wrong, I love the marmalade gins and I love the Earl Grey gins and the exciting gins.
Yeah.
But this kind of feels like it's just a really nice, clean, straightforward, tasty but unfussy.
We're drinking it with Schweppes tonic water.
Yes.
And ice and a slice of lemon.
Classic.
It's really nice, actually.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
And as Mom is apparently now going to listen to all of our podcasts.
She'd be nuts. What? And try and catch up?
Well, yeah, she was gonna make Dad listen to a bunch of them on the way home.
Jeepers.
Mom and Dad live like an hour and a half away from us. But they were here to witness the grand chopping down of the tree. Which is a bit sad because I always get a bit sad when trees are chopped down. But not to sound treeist or anything, but this was a non-native tree that was in a ridiculous place. It was huge. Every time the wind. Okay, so it was. If you have seen our Dingle blog, projectdingle.co.uk, you will see pictures of this tree. It's perched precariously on the edge of a steep bank, 10 feet away from our house.
And it's too big.
It's too big. If it had come down, it would take out, best case scenario, our house, worst case scenario, our lovely neighbour Barbara's house. And also we're going to be moving the bank back at some point. It had to come out.
Had to come out.
So that was fun.
Doing it in winter is the best time because there's no birds in it or anything. It's just...
Yeah. It doesn't really support, because we had a tree surgeon, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Came to do it for us, and he was telling us, because I was like, I feel a bit bad, and he's like, well, it doesn't support really any insect species, not many anyway, whereas an English oak will support like 150 different insect species. Something like the tree that we had up it's not very diverse. It's not good for biodiversity. So it had to go, but we're going to replace it with walnuts and probably an ornamental cherry, which I know is not a native tree either, but it's very pretty. So
yeah,
that's my criteria. If it's not native, it has to be pretty. Anyway, so what are we talking about this week, Joe?
We are talking about gang culture.
No, we're not. We are. Well, I suppose in a manner of speaking, we are. The title of this podcast episode is "Wanna Be in My Gang." We're back on the quirks again. This is quirk number 6.
Okay.
And it's
How many quirks are there?
7.
Okay.
I've only got 1 more. And this week we are talking about how every successful business owner has a kind of club or a cause or a mission or a foundation, or usually, all of those things. And we're talking today about clubs.
Okay.
Because you need to have a club, dear listener. If you haven't already, you need to find a club. And here is how you can do it. How and why, mostly why you can do that, also a little bit of how. But yeah, so this is, all are part of. I don't just go to Pure Studios to do my pole and trapeze. I am a member of Pure Studios.
Right.
You don't just go to BJJ. You're a member of the Combat Academy, right?
Yeah.
So, my superheroes are not just my superheroes. They're not just they're not just in another online membership club. They belong to my superheroes crew.
Okay.
That's how it works. And when you think about what a club is, the word club means an association dedicated to a particular interest or activity. And that we're all really familiar with them because we've got like the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Brownies, the Rotary Club, the Freemasons, possibly the most famous of all. And we'll come back to those guys in a minute. But if you think back to your time, if you went to university or college or even at school, we were all members of clubs, right? It's Freshers' Week what's Freshers' Week all about? I never went to Freshers' Week.
It's kind of where all of the societies set out their stall and try and entice members in, because the universities, I think, fund the clubs based on the membership. So they're all really keen to get new members. So they will entice you in with the means of drinking and socializing and having a good time.
Is it Freshers' Week mostly passing out in the gutter?
And then everybody just drinks too much and it's messy.
What clubs were you in at university?
I played really bad American football, low quality American football.
Okay.
The club wasn't low quality, but I was. That was quite heavily kind of boozy. Good fun. I was in the climbing club.
Yes.
And for a while I played street hockey, would you believe?
No, I wouldn't believe it.
I could go backwards and everything.
Wow, on roller skates? Without falling down?
With a stick.
Gosh. I did that. You see, you can be in a relationship with somebody for 10 years and then you find out new things. I love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I wasn't very good, but, it was good fun.
I knew you did American football, which always cracked me up because you're not really built like an American footballer.
There's skinny, fast American footballers.
Okay.
There's just big, lumpy meatheads in the front line, and I wasn't one of them.
No. I did not know you did street hockey. That's really funny. Anyway, my point is, though, we've probably all of us have been members of a club of some kind or another at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you say when you say that you're in a, you don't just say I'm in a club, you say I belong to a club.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you belong to a club?
Belong to a club. And that's kind of the point. Well, even if you don't say it,
that's what
it is. Yeah, I'm in a club. I belong to a club. Oh. And that taps directly in to one of our core human needs.
I feel a bit of a resistance to the I belong to a club.
Well, I don't know why, though, because you're very happily a member of the Combat Academy.
Yeah, and I'll support the club, and I'll go and I'll volunteer at the events, and I'll join in, and I'll wear their patches and stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah. So what's your problem?
The sense of ownership. It feels. No,
but it's not like they own you. It's that the word belong has more than one definition. Oh, I feel like I need to Google it now. Talk amongst yourself.
Okay, so what clubs were you in at university?
I wasn't.
Were you not?
I was a miserable
Not
git.
much vagina.
Well, I didn't really go to university in the same way that most people did. I went as a mature student. I was already married to somebody else. And yeah. Okay, so here we go. Definition of belong. Intransitive verb. To be suitable, appropriate, or advantageous, or to be in a proper situation. To be the property of a person or thing. To be attached or bound by birth, allegiance, or dependency. To be a member of a club, organisation, or set. To be an attribute, part, adjunct, or function of a person or thing. To be properly classified. So there's a whole bunch of different definitions there, according to Merriam-Webster.
Okay. So I can be attached by birth, allegiance, or dependency.
Yeah.
To the club.
Yeah.
Without
being the property of them.
Being the property of them. Okay, fine.
I don't think
acceptable.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad that's okay. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to think actually. I don't think I was a member of any clubs at university because I was a mature student. I kind of missed out on that whole. I feel like I missed out now on the whole Freshers' Week thing.
Social side of university?
Yeah.
That was the best bit for me.
Well, I've never really been much of a raver, Joe.
Yeah, but you could have joined the Rock Sock or something.
Yeah, I kind of missed. I feel sad now. You've just completely harshed my buzz. But I've made up for it in later life. I am now a member of a pole dancing club.
Yes.
So, organisation, society, whatever. Anyway, but this belonging to a club really taps into our basic. It's like a basic human need. It's like after food and shelter and all of the things that keep you alive. There's this kind of sense of belonging.
Society thing that we need to find.
Yeah, and it's genuine. I'll come to why it's really, really super important in just a moment. But well, no, I'll come to it now. Do you know what ostracism means?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what the actual punishment was in ancient Greece? The mechanics of it.
I would imagine it would be casting someone out of a city or something.
Pretty much, yeah. So if you did like a heinous crime or something, or just apparently just if you pissed people off enough, they would all get together, and if enough people voted, wrote your name on a little chip of clay or whatever, and put it into a hat or whatever they had back then.
I feel you're missing some of the technical details of the ostracizing process.
I actually did archaeology and ancient history at university.
So everybody gets a little chit of clay and they all write their name on it and goes into an urn.
If enough people put your name on a chit of clay and stick it in a receptacle...
Your name, not their name.
No, yeah, the person who has pissed everybody off.
Right.
Then that person gets banished from the city-state for 10 years.
Right.
And so it's not even that you've been banished, which is bad enough. It's like you can't come back. If you come back, then they'll kill you. It's that your fellow citizens, your family, your friends
chosen to do it to you.
Chosen to cast you out. That is, it's it was considered worse than putting people to death.
Oh wow!
And I can see why, because once you're dead, you don't really care what happens after that.
To be honest, if someone threw me out of Herefordshire, I'd prefer that. Throw me out of Herefordshire for 10 years. Rather than kill me.
No. But it's if you think about how society was structured back then, people did not travel. They couldn't travel. They did not have the means unless you were super, super rich. You did not have the means to travel. People stayed very much, in one place. And so, if you were cast out of society, you weren't just cast out of the physical place. You were cast out of society. You were cut off completely from everyone. If you think about the stories of Odysseus and people like that, and they went on these massive journeys, one of the biggest hardships, it wasn't the monsters they fought, they were all metaphors for the fact that actually they were away from everything they knew and everyone that they knew and loved.
The Minotaur's not real?
Well, the Minotaur's real, obviously, but,
okay.
Everything else is not. Sorry.
Jeez.
So that was, I'm just trying to kind of build up a picture of how harsh a punishment, casting people out from society
not
is.
Being in society is.
Yeah. And, we do a similar thing. I mean, we put people in prison now, but, we've been watching Orange is the New Black. If you look into, it's TV and all the rest of it, but if you look into how prison works and stuff now, it's not that you've been locked up and your freedom has been taken away. It's actually that you've been taken out of society. That's the real punishment. And, within prison, the worst thing that can happen is solitary.
Do you know? Yeah, absolutely. And that's removed from even that society.
And by the way, solitary confinement is horrific. And that's a whole different thing. So yeah, sorry, you were going to say something.
I don't know what it was that I was going to say.
Okay, well, think about it, because I'm just going to have a sip.
Okay, drink some gin. It's good gin.
Anyway, so this sociability, socialness, being part of something, it is a need, and it's manifests itself physically as well. I'm just going to go through very quickly a few things that psychologists and medical experts have found. So, when our need for social relationships is not met, we fall apart mentally and physically. This is a bit of an extract from my book here. Our bodies produce excessive stress hormones, which damage our arteries, create high blood pressure, and affect learning and memory. In children, social rejection and isolation leads to dropping out of school, outcast status, and can make it more likely that kids will become delinquent and antisocial. In adults, loneliness can trigger depression and substance abuse and a whole host of medical problems down the line because of that. And there's a guy called John... Oh, I'm going to pronounce this horribly. I'm sorry to all Italians everywhere. Psychologist John Cacioppo.
Cacioppo, that sounds good.
Cacioppo, from the University of Chicago, has studied the effects of loneliness and has found some really quite alarming results, as well as being fascinating. So he conducted a survey that found that doctors said that they provide better or more complete medical care to patients who have supportive families and who are not socially isolated.
Hang on. Doctors, what, knowingly or accidentally or?
Well, they I don't know. I don't know many of the details of that, but just
Doctors confided they provide better or more complete medical care to patients who have supportive families.
And are not socially isolated. I wouldn't want to speculate on the reasons for that, but I suspect it's to do with, a lot of medical care requires support of family and people around you.
I guess as well, maybe people with people around them, the doctor has some oversight.
Yes.
There's somebody else who's going to come back at you if you do a bad job.
Yeah. And I would imagine, I would 100% believe that for most doctors, it's subconscious, and it's only when they're asked to think about it afterwards that they realise that they might be doing that. Because doctors, I think, almost every doctor I've ever met has wanted to do good.
Of course.
So I would imagine that is they perhaps realised that after being part of this study. So another thing that he found was that living alone increases the risk of suicide for both young and old people.
I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Lonely people report higher levels of perceived stress even when exposed to the same stresses as non-lonely people, and even when they're relaxing. So stressful things are more stressful if you're alone.
Yeah.
And, I can speak from experience that that's true. Oh, yeah. Lonely people's social interactions are not as positive as other people's. So the relationships they do have don't tend to alleviate stress in the same way that relationships normally do.
Have you ever met somebody who is overly keen?
Yes.
Very quickly?
Yes.
And I think that is sometimes a signal of somebody who's under stress or lonely.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because as soon as they start being too enthusiastic about they've just made a new friend and you're it.
Yeah, you want to back away.
You start backing away.
Yeah,
it's tough, isn't it?
Which it is tough, yeah, because if you can realise that that's the reason that somebody might be a little bit over friendly and maybe work to overcome it, you could be doing something really cool for somebody who's super lonely. Of course, they might just be a total weirdo. So, but yeah, it's difficult.
People who are socially comfortable are more comfortable when you meet them socially.
Yes, it's kind of a vicious circle.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult. So yeah, maybe next time you meet somebody who you think, oh, that person was too much, maybe consider why they might have been. Because I tend to second guess myself with everything now. Because we all make snap judgments, and I now try, and whenever I make a snap judgment, I try and slap myself across the face mentally and be like, okay, so what might be behind this? Are they a total asshole, or is there something else that might be,
Yeah.
So other things, like loneliness also raises the level of circulating stress hormones and increases blood pressure. So your heart muscle works harder and your blood vessels are more damaged by blood flow turbulence. So that's actually an actual physical effect of loneliness, which is quite alarming. It's cortisol that's a stress hormone, isn't it, I think?
Oh, I don't know.
And loneliness destroys the quality and efficiency of sleep as well. So it's less restorative, both physically and psychologically. Lonely people wake up more at night and spend less time in bed actually sleeping.
I can believe that. Not that I suffer from much loneliness, but when you're not around, I
fall to bits.
Yeah, I eat worse food. I eat less regularly. I go to bed later. Mm-hmm. I probably drink more. And yeah, my sleep is less warm and fuzzy.
I've just come back from basically having the better part of 2 weeks away without Joe, and now I feel like a horrible person.
No, I do fine. But
you've got the cats.
Yeah, and not being here is okay, but it's nicer when you're here.
Oh, that's really cute. I like being here too. I'm really glad to be home. So yes, to sum up, basically, humans are social creatures, and we want to socialise. Even introverts like me, who are very, very introverted, I still like to socialise on my terms.
Yeah.
And, there are people that I love to spend time with, and I couldn't spend all my time on my own. I work very well on my own, and I'm very happy to spend, 10 hours a day on my own. But if that was all I did...
Yeah.
That would be bad. I go out to the studio.
That's it. I mean, from my point of view, certainly the studio and the exercise and the people you meet there and the social aspect of that is what stops you going completely crackers.
Yeah, it's not just the fact that I love pole and I love trapeze and all the rest of it, although I would go anyway, but I love the friends that I've made at that place. They're all fantastic. So thank you, Annie, for making Pure Studios.
Hi, Annie.
Bloody love it. Hi, Annie! Socialising in clubs allows us to participate in things safely. It gives us an identity.
Yeah.
The ability to be part of something bigger than just you. I mean, that's part of the reason that religion is still a thing. It's not really to do with belief in a supernatural thing. It's the sense of community that it brings.
I think that's probably a very large part of it, yes.
And because we were at a funeral a couple of weeks ago for your aunt, and I remember your mum and dad were saying, "Oh, I know. Thank you for coming, Vicky, because I know it's not really your thing." And I was like, "Well, no, it is my thing because
family and support. And
it's family,
else.
And actually, despite the fact that I'm not religious at all, I really liked the ritual around it because when somebody dies, it's important to do something to honour.
It's important to come together and
and a good way to do that is to have some kind of a ritual, and that all of that it's comforting, and I enjoyed it. I know that sounds weird because it was a funeral, but I think funerals should be enjoyable.
Yeah,
if they can possibly be in any way, So yeah, that kind of made me laugh because I was like, well, it's not. But it's the religious side of it's got nothing to do with it. It's the community.
I think my folks are probably so confused about the religious aspect of that and why it would be uncomfortable for you when it completely isn't.
Yeah. I found it really interesting actually because I've never been to a Catholic funeral before, so it was interesting.
Smells and bells.
Well, no, the smells. It reminded me of my teenage bedroom because I had incense as well, and I was like, "Ooh, this takes me back." Yeah. Anyway, so it gives you an identity, allows you to be part of something bigger than just you, which is important. Because we all need to be part of something bigger. And a couple of examples from my life. So I got my friend Dom. Hi, Dom.
Hi, Dom.
I got Dom a badge because we both are massive fans of the TV show The West Wing and massive fans of the podcast The West Wing Weekly, which is Joshua Molina and Rishikesh Hirway.
Hi, Joshua. Hi, Richie.
Rishi. That would be so cool if they actually got in touch and said, listen, that would be amazing.
Send them a link.
The West Wing Weekly podcast, that's what I listen to. I'm mentioning it a lot because maybe it'll get picked up. The West Wing Weekly, we love you guys. Anyway, I bought a badge for me and a badge for Dom, and the badge says, "What's next?" on it. And then quite a lot of people around the world have this badge because they're fans of the podcast. And so when we see each other, there's this sign that you make. And this is not going to be good for radio, but it's like a plane taking off. And when Dom came to
California, with one hand.
You do it with one hand, and it's like a plane taking off. And if things are going badly, then it's like a plane crashing. And it's from an episode of The West Wing. And anyway, but when Dom came to California with us, and we were trying to we had a nightmare getting to the airport, and we were supposed to be meeting him, and he sent us a video of himself going. And that was me doing the sound effect of a mime that doesn't work very well. Anyway, and we sent another one. Anyway, you had to be there.
You had to be there.
But that's the point. You had to be there. It's a belonging thing. And so Dom sent me a baseball cap with "What's Next" on it, which is awesome. So yes, and then there are other clubs like the Freemasons, probably the oldest and most famousest club of all.
Okay.
What do they do? What are the benefits of being part of the Freemasons?
1 foot in a bucket of porridge.
Well, you say that, but I googled them. Hang on.
Another 1 foot in a bucket of porridge, goat on a string.
I don't think
knife to the heart, bag on your head. Funny handshakes.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Okay, so I looked up what are the benefits of Freemasonry.
That's not going to be one. They're not going to put right on their front page, is it? 1 foot in a bucket of porridge.
They do have rituals, though.
I know. What do you think I'm talking about?
So, let's have a look. A small list. So, with Freemasonry, you get a second family. You have a network of 6 million brothers worldwide.
It's a lot of brothers.
It's a lot of brothers.
Difficult remembering the names.
Yeah. And you can, and anybody, any man in the world, I think there is an order of women's Freemasonry as well. And it's like, women have their own clubs, and I'm fine with men having their own clubs. But, this is about, you're treated as a brother. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what colour your skin is, doesn't matter what religion you're of. The only thing they ask is that you have a faith of some kind, which I found interesting. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to supplant somebody else's faith, but they're like, you should have a faith of some kind. And I was thinking, is faith in cheese enough?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Your brothers can be found all around the world. So wherever you go in the world, you can rest assured that you have a brother somewhere close by. They're really playing on the sense of belonging here. Mm-hmm. It's a family. You can visit any lodge in the world. You can witness how they work the craft and their degrees. Now I'm intrigued. I might have to dress up as a man and be a drag king and try and... Anyway, be part of something bigger than you. There you go. That's the thing that they say. You'll be part of this legacy that has a very long history. Part of a fraternity that has had kings and presidents. 15 US presidents were Freemasons. Every brother is equal in every lodge. Regardless of social status, you don't have to be rich. So, yeah. Masonry takes good men and makes them better. They do a lot of charity work. You're expected to do charity work. Maybe not just donating money, but doing charity work. What people think are the benefits of being a Freemason. You make money from it, you get rich, business connections, run the world. Totally absurd. I don't know. There's porridge and goats.
Porridge, goats, knives, bags on heads.
And then there's the other, probably the second most famous club in the world, the Rotary Club.
Right.
And so, they have their member benefits. They list as friendship, fellowship, and community. The basic human need. Citizenship in the community helps you develop better community citizens. Rotary Club members are the most active citizens of any community. So doing good stuff.
So this is all this marketing that we're looking at is playing on people's need to be part of something.
Yes.
And belonging and,
Yes. But guess what they do? To be a member of a club, you pay a subscription.
Yeah.
And people are happy to do so for all of the reasons that we've talked about and, for other reasons too. We are used to that. So, I've got Spotify and Netflix and Amazon Prime. I subscribe to a period living magazine because we're renovating a house. I've got Infusionsoft, which is it's a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Adobe InDesign, same. Pole is a subscription. Your Jiu-Jitsu is. I'm a member of the National Trust and the Woodland Trust and the Marine Conservation Society and the Humanist Society.
We need to look at your expenditure.
But, so what kind of a club could you start? It's not necessarily just that kind of a club, that kind of ephemeral kind of, belonging club. But there's also, we get HelloFresh every week, which is a subscription box of food. We used to get Riverford Organic.
Mm-hmm.
I get a Fox box from Creatures of XIX, which is a box of pole goodies every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I get a magazine subscription for, other stuff. There's Loot Crate.
Mm-hmm.
There's beauty boxes. You can get a box full of...
But do you feel like they are a community, or do you feel like they're just shipping you stuff every couple of months?
I think they could do better at the community thing. And actually, I was going to talk about this with the Fox box another time, and we'll talk about it another time, because I'm going to give them another box to kind of... I want to make my decision whether or not to stick with them. But that's a very good point. So yeah, I mean, there's a bazillion things that you could offer to people as part of a membership, and you absolutely should. Even if it's not something that you want to make you, a recurring income on, you should still be offering your clients some way of belonging. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you guys could do this where you are, there's a bazillion things that you guys could do.
Who's me, guys?
Bytronic.
Oh, at work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, maintenance contracts, there's stuff that you could do with that to make people want to... Anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, but if you're going to make your own club, then there's a couple of things that you need to consider. It needs to be simple.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it.
It needs to be maintainable.
Yeah.
You got to be able to, don't go into it thinking, I'm going to spend 10 days a month maintaining this thing, because you've got a business to run and you're probably not. You got to be able to, it's got to be, sensible.
And think about what people get value from, because one of the big mistakes that business owners make with everything that they do is they think that to give value, they've got to give more. But actually you don't. And this is not to say that you want to do the bare minimum possible, but you need to think what people really value. And what I've discovered from running my superheroes is that what they really, they're like the touches that I do and the magazine and the critiques and stuff. But the thing that they really value is that sense of community. They've told me that it's the group calls.
It's the group.
It's the group. It's the support. It's that they really get.
Other business owners' opinions on their new plan. Yeah,
it's not just me. I mean, I'm the leader, but it's far bigger than just me. It's far more important than just that. So that's really important. Variety. You want to keep people interested. So I have a different focus every month with my newsletter, and I try and teach something different every month, and more to the point, get people to do something different every month with it. Not everybody does everything every month, and that's fine.
But they need to not see the same thing come round in 4 months' time.
Yeah, and they get that with the Q&A calls. They're different every month by their very nature.
Yeah.
With the critiques, they're all different, although people do tend to make the same mistakes. So that's
category
fine.
Mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. You want convenience. People, make it easy for people. Make it really easy for people to buy your subscription or be a member of your club. And by that, I mean, you should make it easy for people to be a member, but also how can you take something and make it more convenient so that people will want to be a member because of that? Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, for example, that's HelloFresh is convenient.
Yes.
That's why we pay them 36 quid a week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can bundle things. You know, how can you take products that you've got and make bundles and turn that into some kind of a subscription? So, for example, you know, I've often thought, is there something that I can do to make like a superheroes light for people who don't want all of the, you know, the personal stuff that I do, like the critiques and the Q&A calls? Could I just
want the material?
Yeah, could I just send people the newsletter? Actually, I decided not to do that because people probably won't do anything with it.
Yes, without the touches and the people in the community, they'd probably buy it for a couple of months and then drift off.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I'm not interested in easy money like that. It's not, you know.
Right. Well, we're half an hour in.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so, yeah, very quickly. Club has a leader, mission, rules, benefits, a welcome process, like my secret superheroes kit.
Don't tell anybody.
Well, they'll have to join if they want my secret superheroes kit. And a certain type of person.
Yes, an audience.
Yeah.
A target audience.
Yeah, because all my superheroes, totally different industries, totally different businesses, but similar types of people. And that's really important. So, takeaway for this week is...
Start a club.
Yeah.
Start a club. Think about what community you could build. Start bringing those people together. Start a club.
Yeah, do it. And you've got loads of ideas in here for that. And if you want more ideas, join my superheroes because I will absolutely be able to help you with that. In fact, one of my superheroes at the moment is just struggling or wrestling with how to set up her own club and what to do with it and all the rest of it. So if you join now, that would be the perfect time and you can talk to Jill about it.
Oh, hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill. Any questions, as usual, send them to vicky@vickyfraser.com and we will read them out and answer them. Coming up next week is the final quirk, which is going to be all about...
Something else.
It's going to be all about having your own media.
Ooh.
So there you go. All successful business owners have their own media. And you can find out more about that same time next week. In the meantime, you can join the superheroes by going to vickyfraser.com/ oh crap, I can't remember the URL that I asked her to do.
Just email Vicky Fraser.
No, I should have. I think it's vickyfraser.com / superheroes.
Okay.
It may not be.
Something like that.
Louise, if you're listening to this podcast, and I know you are because you're a superstar, can you make sure that redirects to the sign-up page as well? Hi, Louise. Love you. So, yeah, vickyfraser.com / superheroes if you would like to join and get the secret superhero kit. Otherwise, we'll be back same time next week. Oh, share this. If you liked it, go rate us and review us at iTunes.
5 stars.
5 stars. Or go to vickyfraser.com / podcast. If you think someone else will enjoy it, send them to there. And thanks for listening. We love you. If you've listened to every single episode, write in with your address and let me know because I got a little something to send you.
Bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.